Dear students, this is educational psychology. I am Professor K.V. Hirivadu. Once again, I am here to teach you the concept of educational psychology. Just a brief introduction to educational psychology. So, educational psychology is the psychological study of learning within various educational situations. It covers the psychology of teaching as well as the newer study of social psychology within the school settings. Educational psychology seeks to understand how students each learn and how actually they develop. Because educational psychology covers a broad expanse of specialties with educational psychologists focusing on different technology used in education. How teachers develop curriculum or worksheets as well as lesson plans and rubrics within their classrooms. See, it also covers special education for both gifted students and those with the learning disabilities, because we have two options. One is called the very gifted students and another one is called the students of disabilities. Because educational psychology studies human development as well as learning development. Many psychologists' previous work has been applied. Piaget and the theory of learning development is incorporated as it applies to students' cognitive abilities at various ages. The best following teachers to use teacher resources wisely for any age group. Kohlberg is equally implicated for moral development of student and how actually that contributes to their success or lack thereof within the various learning environments with the different learning materials present. So the Steiner's work that correlates child development encompassing theories of Kohlberg, Piaget as well as the psych that called very physical and emotional development. So seeing as an individual are unique in their construction, their abilities or challenges derived from learning or development are also unique. Educational psychology is responsible for understanding disabilities such as ADHD, dyslexia, speech impediments and even hearing impairments and or any level of mental you are calling as a retardation. It is also responsible for understanding gifted intelligence and creativity. To understand these intelligence tests and administrated, most famously being the Stanford, Binet and even WISC IQ tests, because in next period you will just come to know that what is actual IQ test and what is IQ, intelligent quotient. So this follows for a very broader understanding of economic effects on learning too. Major concepts within education psychology are learning and cognition. So this covers formal educational system and whether the private or public actually see and how the students within these systems retain any information or skill learned and how actually they are able to apply those skills or that information outside of their classrooms. Motivation covers a large portion of study as individual motivation internally affects how a student would behave and thus how well they are able to learn within certain settings. So the behavioral perspective studies how actually the teachers are able to alter a student's behavior through conditioning. The cognitive perspective seeks to understand memory and how that relates to a student's ability to process, to store or to retrieve or forget learned information. Because when somebody is teaching to students, these are the aspects which are to be happened in the classroom. It also relates how different beliefs, emotions as well as individual memories or motivations might contribute. The development perspective links cognitive development and even education by aiming to aid students in their acquisition of knowledge as well as their organization of said knowledge. The changes in cognition will alter a student's ability to progress from a low to high understandings, and the development perspective specially concerned itself with understanding how those changes take place, as well as how the individual differences would affect a student's organization and disabilities or something you are able. The perspective especially of a social cognition, I mean to say that the perspective of social cognition determines how behavior, cognition and social constructs will affect learning. So the last perspective of special educational psychology is the constructivist perspective, which focuses on how known information and experiences contribute to a student's ability so to learn new concept and just even solve problems. So it is just a little bit about what is educational psychology. But actually still I have not explained the meaning, definition and the characteristics. So in my next period I will just start the very brief introduction of educational psychology. So with this I conclude my just a brief history of educational psychology. Once again I am here, Mr. Professor KV here. Thank you very much. Have a nice time. Take care of yourself.